Mahatma Gandhi was of the opinion that the political situation of India in 1919, or we have already discussed, that by the coming of 1919, there was not even a single section of India that was not annoyed by the British government for one reason or the other. And therefore, Mahatma Gandhi, because he was physically present in India between 1915 and 1919, and therefore he was understanding everything. And as a best strategist, political strategist, he merged, or he was now of the opinion that 20% Muslims of India, they have come in, they have already launched a movement, and this is 100% purely in sense, purely religious in sense, and therefore they are never going to back out. वो back out नहीं करेंगे. और इसलिए महात्मा गांधी in 1919, as soon as he found that the political environment of India was burning with anti-British feeling, on 5th September 1920 he launched his प्रोग्रेसिव नॉन वायलेंट नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट. अब ये देखिए, बहुत में इंटरेस्टिंग है ये. इफ यू आर गोइंग टू यूज दिस 5 words, तो द होल सिनेरियो इज गोइंग टू कम बिफोर यू. इट शुड बी नॉन वायलेंट. महात्मा गांधी, he made it a talisman that his non cooperation movement, it should remain 100% non violent. यहाँ तक बोल दिया था उन्होंने कि आई डोंट वांट दैट अ सिंगल सत्याग्रही should throw a simple pebble on the British government, because he was 100% of the opinion that we Indians can never defeat the British government in open declared battlefield. The level of confidence that the British were having at the end of the First World War, they have emerged victorious right now. So naturally, the level of confidence of the British government, it has already been upped many fold. बहुत ऊंचा हो चुका है. और ऐसे समय में if we are going to try to push the British government into corner, so the British government may retaliate as soon as we are going to provide them a pretext to retaliate in a violent way. If we are going to turn violent, so naturally we are going to give an opportunity, or we are going to provide a pretext to the British government to retaliate in a violent way, because they are having better ammunitions, more ammunitions, ठीक है, more deadly weapons. So naturally the retaliation, if it will be shown by the British government on the Satyagrahis, it will be very sinister for India, because he was of the opinion that if a single casualty is going to happen because of his non-cooperation movement, तो natural है, natural, and the possibility of which is definitely going to increase 100 times if we are going to give, or if we are going to avoid this non-violence. Non-violence को अगर छोड़ देंगे, तो non-violence को छोड़ देंगे तो violent होने का चांस बहुत है ना. और अगर violent अगर हो गया ये, तो naturally the British, they are going to retaliate in a violent way. And if the British are going to retaliate in a violent way, so the casualty that will be incurred by Indians, it will be very large. बहुत बड़ा होगा, और बहुत बड़ा होगा तो the future of all mass movements in India is simply going to be erased हो जाएगा, खत्म हो जाएगा. क्योंकि नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट में जिसका बाप 30 साल का है, उसी का ना बेटा है 10 साल का. जिसका ये एक मर्द जो 30 साल का है, उसका बेटा 10 साल का है. ठीक है. तो आफ्टर 10 years after the failure of the non cooperation movement, if we are going to need to support, if we are going to need to launch another mass movement in India, so naturally I will have to make invitation to the same people. And just imagine कि जिसके पापा का डेथ हुआ होगा नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट में, डू यू थिंक दैट द मदर ऑफ दिस चाइल्ड हु विल बी ऑफ 20 in 1930 में जो 20 साल का होगा, दिस मैन इज गोइंग टू इन्वॉल्व हिमसेल्फ इन द एक्टिव पॉलिटिक्स ऑफ इंडिया, and he'll be of 20, and he will be of the opinion that he should involve himself in the civil disobedience movement, because once again Mahatma Gandhi has launched this. And as soon as the information that his son is planning to involve himself in the civil disobedience movement of Mahatma Gandhi, so there will be a panic-like situation for the mother or not. मां कहेगी ना कि तुम्हारे पापा को हम खो दिए यही महात्मा गांधी के नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट में, और फिर हम बेटा को खोना नहीं चाहेंगे. तो वो कभी जान देगी बहन अपने भाई, जिसका भाई मर गया था नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट में, वो अपने भाई को दूसरा भाई को जान देगी? नहीं जान देगी ना. तो द फ्यूचर ऑफ ऑल मास मूवमेंट इन इंडिया इज सिंपली गोइंग टू गेट इरोडेड if Indians are going if the Indians are going to acquire or experience any level of casualty during the course of the whole course of the non-cooperation movement, and therefore it was simply made a talisman, एकदम मंत्र था कि नॉन वायलेंट को रखना ही है, कोई नॉन वायलेंस में कोई वायलेंस से कोई खिलवाड़ नहीं करेगा। ही मेड इट क्या बोलते हैं, तालिस्मान, मंत्र बना दिया था उन्होंने कि ये मंत्र होगा सारे सत्याग्रही का कि नॉन वायलेंट, इट शुड रिमेन नॉन वायलेंट इन रियल वन। दूसरा बात ये होता है कि एज अ प्रिकॉशन, बिकॉज दिस पर्टिकुलर philosophy was very deeply inserted in his head and heart, and therefore he was the second precautionary measure that Mahatma Gandhi was taking during this launch of his non-cooperation movement was कि it should be progressive. Progressive का मतलब होता है कि it is going to start from zero and then it is going to escalate into a full-fledged mass movement. But at one point of time, I am never going to give a call to every Indian to go for a go. मैंने ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे हिंदुस्तानी को इन्वाइट कर दिए और वही हल्ला बोल कर दिए, ऐसा नहीं था। इट इज गोइंग टू एस्केलेट, इट इज गोइंग टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम जीरो एंड देन इट इज गोइंग टू इन कोर्स ऑफ स्टेजेस इट इज गोइंग टू एस्केलेट, वो एसेंचुएट करेगा, बड़ा होगा। क्या है कि होगा, पहला वाला स्टेज में होता है कि ही इन्वाइटेड 1% और 0.1% इंडियन पीपल who have received any noble titles from the British government, and this 0.1% intellectuals of India who have received any noble titles from the British government, they were supposed to return their noble titles back to the government. And as soon as Mahatma Gandhi launched this, so most of the politicians of India who were doing the politics of the Indian national movement for more than 20 years, they were laughing at him, or they were simply giving a witty smile on Mahatma Gandhi. ये क्या कर रहे हैं आप? पर महात्मा गांधी ये देख रहे थे कि जैसे ही लोगों ने as soon as the Indian people or 0.1% or less than 0.1% Indian people, as soon as they started returning their noble titles that has been conferred to them by the British government at some point of time, the British government was definitely pushed into a ridiculous situation. बहुत खराब तरह का सिचुएशन हो गया था कि when the Indians अभी नहीं है मोदी गवर्नमेंट के साथ के समय में, दिन 19 के पहले जस्ट एक शुरू हुआ था, आमिर खान से लेकर जितने भी मुस्लिम ये है टाइकून्स ऑफ इंडिया है, वन बाय वन दे वर गिविंग स्टेटमेंट्स, एंटी मोदी स्टेटमेंट्स. some of the people who have received any title by the government of India, they were returning the noble title back to the government. तो as soon as a panic like situation will be created in India ना, गवर्नमेंट के लिए बड़ा खराब नहीं है कि सारे के सारे लोग जो उस दिन बताए थे कि वन स्टूडेंट, as soon as I am going to enter into my class, one student he said, यार फिर आ गया, ठीक है मटिया दी उसको, I know कि he is not of the opinion that the class should be of mine. फिर इधर से सुनना शुरू किया, इधर से फिर वही बात सुने, वही मटिया दिए, तीसरा सुने वही बात, फिर at one point of time after 20 or 30 minutes every student of this class they are going to say कि बिनय सर क्लास छोड़ दीजिए. So it is definitely going to kill me or not as a human being. Everyone is going to start saying कि everyone whoever has received any noble title from you, I am returning the same individuals, they are returning their noble titles back to you. So the government was pushed into a ridiculous situation, and it remained the first stage of the progressive non-violent non-cooperation movement. It remained 100% non-violent रह गया. सक्सेस भी मिल गया कि सरकार को हमको पुश, वी आर सपोज टू पुश द गवर्नमेंट इन द कॉर्नर, उसको हमको खराब स्थिति में ढकेलना था, और ये शुरुआत हो गया. यहाँ तक क्लियर. सेकेंड स्टेज में इन द सेकेंड स्टेज इफ महात्मा गांधी वॉज द सिंगल आर्बिटर, वही जज होंगे. He is going to declare that the first stage of his progressive non-violent non-cooperation movement has completed according to his own wish and will. Then he is going to give an alarm to the people of India to show their participation in the second stage. And in the second stage, what we were supposed to do, कि हम लोग को करना था कि we were supposed to स्वदेशी and boycott movement once again. We were supposed to boycott everything that was of British, and we were supposed to accept everything that was of India. जो भी अंग्रेजी हुकूमत का है, चाहे वो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस फंडेड बाय द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट हो, चाहे वो ऑफिसेज हो, चाहे वो ये पार्लियामेंट्स हो, चाहे लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली हो, म्यूनसिपैलिटीज हो, चाहे वो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हो, चाहे वो गुड्स हो, सर्विसेज हो, एवरी सर्विसेज, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज, और एवरीथिंग दैट वाज रेंडर्ड बाय द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट इन इंडिया, इट वाज टू बी बॉयकॉटेड बाय द इंडियन पीपल. ठीक. And everything that was of India, it was to be accepted. तो वही स्वदेशी एंड बॉयकॉट मूवमेंट सेकेंड वाला में ये हुआ. सेकेंड वाला में भी अच्छा, साइमल्टेनियसली द खिलाफत मूवमेंट इज ऑलरेडी गोइंग ऑन. माने नॉन प्रोग्रेसिव नॉन वायलेंट कोऑपरेशन नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट, इट वाज इन फैक्ट integrated or merged with the Khilafat movement. Therefore, this movement is actually known as non-cooperation and Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement was already going on, and non-cooperation movement was integrated with this Khilafat movement. So naturally, अच्छा 20% Indian population who belong to the Muslim community of India, just in lust of showing their sense of polarization in favor of their Khalifa, they were proactively participating in the non-cooperation movement. ठीक है. And the total banner was banner or the political canopy under which this whole movement was going on in India. It was in fact Mahatma Gandhi. So the total name for whatever better that was happening to India, the credit was actually coming to Mahatma Gandhi. Okay. Second stage was also successful. If we are going to look into the non-cooperation movement in totality, in December 1921 के दिसंबर में अगर हम लोग देखेंगे नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट को, तो यू आर गोइंग टू फाइंड दैट, इसको लिख लो, the British government was handicapped as no instance of law breaking was taking place. And this you are going to commit, they have already set their net, legal net बना चुका है वो लोग, पर until we are going to enter into their legal net, how can they trap us? अगर जो गैर कानूनी हम काम करेंगे तब ना पुलिस हमको मार देगा कि यहाँ पे ट्यूशन पढ़ाना तो लीगल है, एसपी आके हमसे दुश्मन है इसलिए एसपी आके हमको दुश्मन मार देगा, नहीं करेगा ये बात. The Muslims, especially the youths, opened in favor of using some force to throw the British out of India. However, Mahatma Gandhi in Barauli remained unmoved. This was in fact the exact scenario of the non-cooperation movement in totality. दत्त, बरखा दत्त नाम है क्या, स्टीफेंस वाली बरखा दत्त ही नाम है. बरखा दत्त ने ओपीडी लिखा है, उसको यूज कर लिया, एक्सेप्ट कर लिया इंग्लिश ने. The Muslims, especially the youths of the Muslim community, they opened in favor of using some force to throw the British out of India. However, Mahatma Gandhi in Barauli remained unmoved. लिख लिया. अब देखो, अब देखिए, come to the blackboard. कि if you are going to look into the non-cooperation movement launched on 5th September 1920, in December 1921, when it was at its climax, if you are going to look into the non-cooperation movement in totality, so this was in fact the picture. Picture क्या था कि a few leaders of the Congress were in jail, ठीक है, because of their undue involvement in the non-cooperation movement. So a few leaders from the Indian National Congress, they were in jail. One, it was a trivial issue, कोई बात नहीं था. Peasants of Guntur district of Mysore and Medipur district of Bengal had already suspended the payment of land revenue. Try to understand the thing, because the agenda of the non-cooperation movement, it was known to every satyagrahis in India, and everyone was knowing that it was to graduate in phases, and the first phase was complete, the second phase was complete. If you are going to look at the development of the non-cooperation movement in December 1921 with the eyes of the peasants of Guntur district and Medipur district, so you are going to find that why they have suspended the payment of land revenue, because they were of the opinion that the second phase of the non-cooperation movement as perceived by Mahatma Gandhi is already complete. At any point of time, Mahatma Gandhi may declare the third and the final phase of defiance of law and non-payment of revenue. And if Mahatma Gandhi is going to declare, if I am going to pay the land revenue today, अगर अभी दे देते हैं और पता चला कि आफ्टर 10 days if Mahatma Gandhi is going to declare the non-payment of revenue and defiance of law, तो I am going to incur a loss. 10 दिन पहले अगर बचा लेते 10 दिन तक किसी से स्ट्रगल करके, तो थर्ड फेज में जाने के पहले नॉन पेमेंट ऑफ रेवेन्यू, तो 150 रेवेन्यू देना था हमको, तो हो सकता है नेगोशिएशन होता तो 50 रुपये में बच जाता मैंने आई वुड. तो सो दैट ये इसका मतलब ये होता है कि द फर्स्ट एंड द सेकंड फेज ऑफ द नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट, इट वाज टर्निंग आउट टू बी as perceived by Mahatma Gandhi or as perceived by the Indians. Because if you are going to look at the development of the non-cooperative movement with the eyes of the peasants of Guntur district and Bengal and Medipur district, तो clear था, ये भी था. तीसरा था कि almost all offices and educational institutions gave a deserted look. Every educational institutions that were being funded by the British government in India, they gave a deserted look. का मतलब होता है कि every student, every college going student, they simply said कि we don't want to educate ourselves in your educational institution. एक बात तो ये था. दूसरा, ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द ऑफिसेस, ऑल द ऑफिसेस का मतलब होता है कि सरकारी नौकरी में जो लोग हिंदुस्तानी थे, वो सब लोगों ने दे एक्सेप्टेड द डिक्टेट्स ऑफ महात्मा गांधी एंड एवरीवन लेफ्ट द ऑफिस कि नहीं, आप नौकरी करवा रहे हैं हमसे, एंड अगेंस्ट द नौकरी दैट आई अगेंस्ट द सर्विस दैट आई एम रेडी टू यू, you give me 100 rupee, and with the support of this 100 rupee I am sustaining my whole family. If I am not going to work, because right to work is not a fundamental right, and therefore government can force me to work. So because I work with you, and therefore you as a reciprocal action, you pay me 100 rupee or 1000 rupee per month. I don't want to work. On the name of Indian nationalism, I don't want to work in your office. I don't want to. I am never going to receive any payment from you. Simple सा बात है. तो सारे, it is better that we should focus on boycotting the British goods. अंग्रेज हमारे दुश्मन है, तो boycott of foreign goods की जगह पे it finally got culminated into boycott of British goods. अंग्रेजी सामानों का बहिष्कार करना शुरू, और अंग्रेजी सामानों का बहिष्कार करना शुरू करने इसका मतलब है कि धोती is manufactured by Germany, manufactured by France. It was sold in the market of India. But the people of India, they were not ready to purchase a single dhoti manufactured by the industries of England. So in the industries from England, they started incurring huge losses. Loss होना है कि production हो रहा है और बिक नहीं रहा सामान. Because India was definitely one of the major market for their industry finished commodities. And industry finished commodities from Britain, it was coming into India, but it was not being sold. So they were accumulating more and more industrial gluts. कूड़ा ज़्यादा बन रहा था. तो और यहाँ तक ये कहा जाता है कि द इंडस्ट्रीज फ्रॉम ब्रिटेन, दे वर एक्सर्टिंग प्रेशर ऑन द ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट कि डू समथिंग, कुछ ना कुछ करो, और नहीं तो अदरवाइज वी आर गोइंग टू टर्न बैंकरप्ट, इंसॉल्वेंट हो जाएंगे हम लोग, मर जाएंगे, खत्म हो जाएंगे हम लोग. ठीक है, तो ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट वॉज डेफिनेटली अंडर प्रेशर. ठीक है, अंडर प्रेशर था, एंड ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट वॉज ट्राइंग टू नेगोशिएट. ये कहीं कहीं आता है बात कि the British Parliament was trying to call the Viceroy and give indication to him that you should negotiate with the Satyagrahis. ठीक है, if they are going to accept, if they are ready to suspend their non-cooperation movement on any gain, political gains less than complete independence, तो you should negotiate. ये बात चल रहा था कि अगर मैंने इसको कंटिन्यू किए होते थोड़ा देर और, तो शायद द आउटकम ऑफ दिस नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट वुड हैव बीन समथिंग डिफरेंट. पर और इधर देखो यहाँ पे कि द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट वाज हैंडीकैप्ड एज नो इंस्टेंस ऑफ लॉ ब्रेकिंग वाज टेकिंग प्लेस, बिकॉज द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट हैज ऑलरेडी सेट हर लीगल नेट, जाल बिछाया हुआ था. बट आई एम गोइंग टू एंटर इनटू देयर लीगल एम्बिट, तो आई एम नॉट इलीगल. अगर आपने कानून बनाया है कि हम नौकरी करेंगे तब हमको पैसा मिलेगा, हम नौकरी नहीं करेंगे. कानून नहीं है कि नौकरी करना ही पड़ेगा, कानून नहीं है कि आपको स्कूल जाना ही पड़ेगा. ठीक है, तो हम स्कूल नहीं जा रहे हैं. तो बिकॉज द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया, दे वर कमिटिंग नो इलीगल एक्टिविटीज, एंड देयरफॉर द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट, डिस्पाइट दैट द टोटल लॉ ऑफ इंडिया वाज अंडर देयर जुरिसडिक्शन, दे वर हैंडीकैप्ड, कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे थे. ठीक है ना. मैंने कुछ नहीं कर पा रहे थे. एंटी ब्रिटिश स्लोगन. अच्छा, they have already given the democratic right to the people of India that you can fight for India's independence in a democratic way. So whatever action we were taking, or the satyagrahis were taking during the whole course of the non-cooperation movement, it was 100% democratic and legal, and therefore the British government in India was handicapped. कुछ नहीं कर पा रहा. So looking at the inactivity on part of the British government in India, the Muslims of India, and especially the Muslims youths of India, because if they were showing their involvement in the non-cooperation movement, it was purely religious. So naturally, the urge, or the level degree of urge that they were having to defeat the British government, it was definitely at the apex. जनित पे था. वो लोग चाहते थे किसी तरह से अंग्रेजों को हराया जाए. ठीक है. And in action on part of the British government, it was giving them, it was motivating them कि मने the British government in India is on the wrong side. If we are going to push them, if we are going to use a few force against the British government, so they are simply going to come on to shambles. वो बर्बाद हो जाएंगे. And therefore, the youths of the Muslim community of India, they were impressing Mahatma Gandhi to start the third and the final phase, as well as to allow the Satyagrahis to use some force to throw the British out of India. पर वही महात्मा गांधी उस समय, बिकॉज ही वॉज हैविंग हिज ओन लॉजिक्स, कि अगर यूज किए फोर्स, ये लोग बच्चा में बोल तो रहा है, इमोशन में बोल रहा है कि एकदम 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 टांग तोड़ देंगे, गोली मार देंगे, ये करते हैं, पर गोली मारने के बाद क्या होगा, ये महात्मा गांधी वॉज अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि द नंबर ऑफ पीपल यू डोंट हैव, दे आर हैविंग मोर कार्टेजेस देन द नंबर ऑफ पीपल वी आर. So naturally, if they are going to come on to action, so they can do a huge damage to the people of India and the future of. And because I am not in fact the ultimate authority to decide that India is going to gain her independence at the end of the non-cooperation movement or not, and therefore, if India is not going to gain her independence at the end of the non-cooperation movement, then इसका मतलब होता है कि at the after a gap of 10 years or 15 years or 8 years, we will have to launch another mass movement, and we need the support of the same people who are showing their proactive involvement in the non-cooperation movement. अगर कुछ ऐसा हुआ, तो the future of all mass movements in India will be eroded from India, and therefore Mahatma Gandhi was taking all precautionary measures. ठीक है. So this was in fact the scenario that was created in December 1921. If you are going to look into the non-cooperation movement in totality, ठीक है. तब हुआ गलती से इन फरवरी 1922 चौरी चौरा इंसिडेंट. चौरी चौरा, an unfortunate incident happened in which 22 policemen from the British side, they were killed. And 22 policemen, जैसे ही उनको, as soon as this information reached Mahatma Gandhi who was in Bardoli, और just after a week, एक सप्ताह के अंदर में, on 2nd September, अगर फरवरी को हुआ तो 12 फरवरी को 1922, from Bardoli itself, Mahatma Gandhi called off the non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement को इन्होंने withdraw कर लिया. माने he withdrew the non-cooperation movement in totality just at the end of the चौरी चौरा incident. ठीक है. And abrupt withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement, it drew or it brought mixed reaction from the people of India. हिंदुस्तानियों का माने different groups of or think tanks of India, they were giving their own opinion, which was away from the opinion of that was given to by other group. जैसे one group, the people who were in jail, a few leaders of the Congress who were in jail, they were not very happy. वो लोग बहुत happy, खुश नहीं थे. उनको लग रहा था because whatever information they were coming across regarding the development of the non-cooperation movement, it was coming through press or through canvassing. माने हम गए आपसे मिलने जेल में, तो हम बताएं कि क्या हो रहा है. तो the exact figure, it was not known to them, and therefore they were not very happy by the abrupt withdrawal of the non-cooperation movement by Mahatma Gandhi. They were of the opinion that आज़ादी की लड़ाई लड़ रहा है और 22 लोग मर गए और वो भी हमारा दुश्मन मरा, उसमें आप इतना खपा हो गए कि आपने विड्रॉ कर लिया non-cooperation movement. When it was placed at the penultimate stage, पिनल्टीमेट स्टेज का मतलब होता है अल्टीमेट से जस्ट नीचे वाला स्टेज पे था और अल्टीमेट स्टेज पे पहुंचने वाले थे. इफ वी वुड हैव पुल्ड द नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट अ फ्यू डेज फर्दर, तो इट वुड हैव गिवन some better results, unprecedented results for India. क्योंकि they were definitely having the sense that industries from Britain, they were also exerting pressure on the British Parliament. तो हो and the British Parliament was already giving information to indication to the Viceroy to negotiate with the people of India. तो negotiation में हम लोग भी करते हैं कि ठीक है, we are ready to withdraw the non-cooperation movement, but on the condition that you are going to provide us dominion status. अभी दिवाली आ गया. पैसा हिंदुस्तान में जो हुआ ना फालतू का, 2 कट्ठा जमीन किसी और का, ठीक है, खरीद रहा कोई और बीच में दलाली करके कमा लिया 15-20 लाख, तो उसको लग रहा है कि 15 लाख रुपये इतना ही आसानी से मिलता है. समझे? 15 लाख रुपये इतना ही आसानी से मिलता है. तो नो वन इज अंडरस्टैंडिंग द रियल वैल्यू ऑफ मनी. पटाखा छोड़ रहे, एक सप्ताह पहले ही से दिवाली मनाना शुरू हुआ. दिवाली के हैं, आज नहीं है शादी, आज लगन होता है ना. शादी लगन से होता है कि मैंने सब थोड़े से फटीजर रह रहे हैं, जब मन तब शादी कर लेगा. हाँ, तीसरा स्टेज में तो ये लोग फ्यू क्लास जैसे पेजेंट्स मेदिनीपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में और मैसूर गुंटूर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में, ये 2 डिस्ट्रिक्ट का इन्फॉर्मेशन है. भाई यू कैन नॉट राइट एवरीथिंग वॉट एवर फील लाइक राइटिंग ना, until you are going to do the survey कि कहाँ व्हाट वाज इन फैक्ट एग्जैक्ट. जैसे पीएचडी जब करोगे ना तुम, अगर हिस्ट्री से करोगे तो कोई लड़का लिखा होगा कि द रियलिटीज ऑफ द नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ द पेजेंट्स ऑफ गुंटूर डिस्ट्रिक्ट. इस पे पीएचडी करेगा, थीसिस लिखेगा और वो रिसर्च करेगा जाके गुंटूर में, और तब अगर उसका रियलिटी होगा तब जाके उसको लिख पाएगा कोई भी हिस्टोरियंस. अदरवाइज यू कैन नॉट राइट वॉट एवर यू फील लाइक राइट. तो 2 डिस्ट्रिक्ट का सर्वे किया गया है कि गुंटूर डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफ मैसूर एंड मेदिनीपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट ऑफ बंगाल. द पेजेंट्स ऑफ दीज 2 districts they have already suspended the payment of land revenue with the hope that Mahatma Gandhi may declare the third and the final stage, in which third stage में करना था क्या था, defiance of law and non-payment of revenue. Money in the third stage में Mahatma Gandhi would have blown or would have given a clear-cut statement before the British government that we don't accept you to be our government and therefore we don't accept your law to be our law. हम मानते हैं कि सरकार का कानून बनाने का अधिकार है, पर because we don't accept you to be our government and therefore we don't accept your law to be our law, and because you have your law, according to your law payment of land revenue is due, so naturally because we don't accept you to be our government and therefore we are not going to accept your dictates of paying the land revenue. तो अगर ऐसा हो जाता तो हो सकता है 150 जो अंग्रेज कलेक्शन कर रहे थे, आज़ाद अगर हिंदुस्तान हो गया होता तो शायद 10 रुपया लगता. तो if the peasants of Guntur district, if they would have paid the land revenue of 150 rupee, and on the second or the third day or within 10 days, if dominion status would or independence would have been granted to India, तो and independent India would have said कि 1 रुपया 1 एकड़ का, अंग्रेजों ने 15 रुपया 1 एकड़ का कर लिया था, और आज़ाद हिंदुस्तान का सरकार लिखता कि 1 रुपया 1 एकड़ का, तो 10 एकड़ जमीन है तो हम 150 रुपया अंग्रेज को देते थे और हम अब सरकार को देंगे 10 रुपया, तो आई एम गोइंग टू इनकर अ लॉस ऑफ 140 रुपी ना. तो विथ दिस होप दैट महात्मा गांधी मे डिक्लेयर द थर्ड एंड द final phase of the non-cooperative movement at any point of time, and therefore the peasants of Guntur district and Manipur district they have halted or suspended the payment of land. ठीक है, यहाँ देखो the youths of Muslims they were very much optimistic. उनको लग रहा था कि अंग्रेज कुछ नहीं कर रहा, सरकार किसान झुक गया, डर गया है अंग्रेज, या सरकार जो है वो दब गया है. ठीक है, तो ये क्या कर रहा है, जैसे तुम धरना प्रदर्शन कलेक्ट्रेट में जाके करना शुरू कर दो. ठीक है, एंड द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट इज डूइंग नथिंग. ठीक है, डीएम वगैरह आ गए, एसपी नहीं है, और एसपी मुर्दाबाद, ये करो, हमारे नेता को छोड़ो, हमारे नेता को छोड़ो कर रहा है, और डीएम और एसपी अंदर में बैठ के फोन से बात कर रहा है कि देखो तो कितना का भीड़ है, तो 10,000. कितना में डिस्पर्स करेगा? तो कम से कम 500 चाहिए, वो लाठी और डंडा वाला 500 पुलिस चाहिए, बेंत वाला। देखो तो पुलिस लाइन में क्या वो है, तो 450 है। तो एक काम करो, रोहतास एसपी को फ़ोन करो, वहाँ भी 500 होगा। लाइन लाइन हाजिर बने, जो आराम से बैठा होगा सेंटिंग में, तो वहाँ भी एसपी को फ़ोन किया, बोला कि बस 50 भेजो, तो 450 तो है मेरे पास। 450 यहाँ से आ गया पुलिस लाइन से, टपाटप बूट पहन के, इतना में बड़ा बड़ा बूट पहन के, ये लेके और लाठी लेके, और होकना शुरू कर दिया पूरा 10,000 डेमोस्ट्रेटर को। और पता चला कि 10 मिनट के बाद में वहाँ पे नॉट इवन अ माइन्यूटेस्ट सेम्बलेंस ऑफ धरना प्रदर्शन was seen in the collectorate. Everyone has gone back to their household. तो ये सरकार चूंकि लीगल है, अंग्रेजी सरकार मुर्दाबाद करने का अधिकार है हमको डेमोक्रेट, वी आर हैविंग द डेमोक्रेटिक राइट टू स्पीक एंटी गवर्नमेंट स्लोगन्स। तो वी वर सेइंग एंटी अंग्रेज मुर्दाबाद, इसलिए गवर्नमेंट वाज डूइंग नथिंग, and the Muslim youths, they underestimated the military power of the British government. They were very much optimistic, and because they were, whatever they were speaking, it was in fact the religious emotion that was coming out. Religious emotions it was coming out, na. So they have become they were very optimistic, and they were of the opinion that the government is on the wrong side, and if we are going to use a simple force, so we are going to throw the British out of India. ठीक है, and therefore they were impressing Mahatma Gandhi to use some force to throw the British out of India. But Mahatma Gandhi was having altogether a different opinion. इनके दिमाग में था कि नहीं, बस पाँच मिनट इनके दिमाग में, तो ये क्लियर हुआ। और महात्मा गांधी, तो इट गेव अ मिक्स्ड रिएक्शन। लिख लो जल्दी से, द एब्रप्ट विड्रॉल ऑफ द नॉन कोऑपरेशन मूवमेंट, the abrupt withdrawal of the non-coopration movement, abrupt माने the abrupt withdrawal of the non-cooptation movement drew mixed reaction from various sections of India, from various sections of India. From various sections of India. ठीक है, छोड़ दें। इसके बाद